From coast to coast in Newfoundland and Labrador, this is Issues and Answers with Lynn Burry.
Hello everyone and welcome to Issues and Answers. Our special guest on this week's program is Siobhan Cody, who of course is the Member of Parliament for St. John South, Mount Pearl, and our guest panelist this week is NTV's legislative reporter Michael Connors. Ms. Cody, first of all, thank you very much for coming in today.
It's wonderful to be here with you today.
Members of Parliament, of course, back in the House of Commons this week. A lot to talk about, what's happened over the summer and what's expected to happen over the fall. The gun registry, funding for the fighter jets, the economy. But I want to start, first of all, with Igor. And we know the damage that it has caused. Of course, you just got back in the province last night. This program is being taped on Thursday. But you've seen the footage. What are your thoughts?
Devastating, absolutely devastating. But it again goes to show that emergency preparedness is so critical to all of us, both as individuals, as families, communities, as well as our province as a whole. I mean, we have to be prepared. These storms seem to be coming more frequently. So, I remember a couple of years ago we had Chantal, of course, in 2007, and now in 2010 we have Igor. The Burin Peninsula, when roads are closed, and food policy, we chatted just before we started here today, food policy becomes critical. When you look at the fact that Marystown is now cut off, and you know, we can't get trucks in there with food and supplies. We have medical issues in some of the other communities. In St. John South, Mount Pearl, while we have, you know, families and communities and houses that have challenges, it's not as devastating as what we have in some other regions of our province. So we have to be prepared. We have to get out there now. Now it's critical the federal government come to the table very quickly. If you remember in 2007 with Chantal and what happened in the Placentia area, it took a long time to get the money. Our ask over the last number of days, I've been up in the House a couple of times on this issue this week, is that this be solved very quickly. Let's get the money flowing into the communities rather and into people's pockets rather quickly. They need to get to shore up their homes, to shore up the roads, to make sure that we're back in safety again.
And of course, the Prime Minister is coming here and going to do a tour on Thursday. Are you hoping that having him see this firsthand will speed up the process?
Well, it didn't quite help in 2007. He did tour the region. We're going to have to keep on him very much to ensure that money flows quickly. This is a critical issue, is that he's getting the money to the province, to the communities rather quickly. The other issue, and I think we need to mention it, is all the people, all the communities, the civil servants, the power, the enlightened power who are out there and are still out there. I know my house, for example, still doesn't have power. Hopefully by the time this airs on Sunday we will. But if all these people are out there trying to make those repairs, and I know that I want to send a bouquet to them just to say thank you for they're so diligent and hardworking, and it's very much appreciated in our communities.
Michael?
You mentioned food policy. We sort of got a taste of that problem with the Port of Montreal lockout, about the danger the province could be in if it gets cut off from outside supplies. What changes need to happen in that area to make us more secure?
Well, the Liberal Party, actually, I did a tour. We did a full tour last year talking to people across the country on what changes. I mean, this is a comprehensive food policy, one of the issues of which is making sure the availability of food. We have to make sure that we have under our emergency preparedness the ability to have food brought into our province in any event. We have to have some kind of stockpiling and knowing that we have some food. But the biggest thing is 20 years ago, you know, Newfoundland and Labrador was a little more self-sufficient with regard to agriculture. And again, what policies do we need to enact to ensure that we again focus on the agricultural industry and focus on having a supply in this province in case of disaster? So there are, you know, there's a multitude of policies that need to occur, one of which, of course, is making sure that we, in the case of a disaster, we have some kind of supply and opportunity to have food right here in this province.
Obviously, the heaviest damage happened in places like the Burin Peninsula and, you know, the Bonavista Peninsula. But what stories have you been hearing from your own constituents in St. John South, Mount Pearl?
Well, I spoke with all the mayors, Petty Harbour, Maddox Cove, and Mount Pearl, and of St. John's. And overall, each of the mayors was saying, while there was a lot of loss and a lot of upheaval, there wasn't the devastating damage and no loss of life. So they were all quite pleased with that. Roads, a lot of roads washed out. Bridges, some of the bridges they're concerned about power lines having fallen. But they were overall just concerned about having the money available to fix the infrastructure as quickly as possible. One of the issues, of course, is the replacement of that infrastructure, and how do we ensure that we have the proper infrastructure going forward if we're going to have, because of climate change, more of these storms. The other, of course, is I think 200 homes in Mount Pearl alone were flooded, and these people need some assistance as well, very quickly, to help them with the rebuilding and redevelopment of their own homes. So mostly it was around the issue of making sure that money flows rather quickly, and questioning what kinds of infrastructure do we need to have going forward if this is going to become more of an issue globally, because we haven't done what we need to do around the whole issue of climate change.
Can we switch gears now and talk about the gun registry? Of course, it was the issue that everyone was talking about this past week, and the vote was held in the House of Commons on Wednesday night, and the gun registry stays by a very, very narrow vote. So much has been said about the debate and the need for the registry, or on the other side, people saying it's not necessary and it's a waste of money. How big an issue is this with Canadians, in your opinion?
Honestly, I can tell you, I spent a lot of time in my riding over the last months of the summer, speaking to an awful lot of people. As you know, I hold a lot of round tables. I have conferences. I have barbecues and breakfasts to try and engage. I believe in citizen engagement. This is not the issue that people are talking to me about. Senior citizens have issues. There's issue around health care, home care, pensions. Those kinds of things are really foremost in Canadians' minds. The economy. It's not the gun registry. The gun registry became more about politics than it did about good policy. And when you saw the report from the RCMP talking about it's only between $2 and $4 million a year to maintain this, isn't that for the cost of a life? You're going to talk about $2 to $4 million? The cost of a life here. And when you listen to emergency hospital coordinators, when you talk to the police, all the women's groups across the country, the victims groups across this country, I don't understand how it became the political issue that it did. And I think I'm glad the registry is maintained. I think there are changes that are required. That became, in my discussions with people, that became more the focus. What is it we need to do to ensure the concerns that have been legitimately raised around the registry are addressed? It wasn't about whether it should, whether we need it or not. I don't think it's a question of public safety. You register your dog, you register your car. Lobbyists have to register now to come to see me in Parliament Hill. But guns aren't, the Conservatives didn't want to have guns registered. I think that there's something incongruent here. So I thought, I was saddened, actually, that it became the political issue. It took up so much time. When we couldn't address, didn't address, or the Conservatives didn't address, the issues that I think are foremost in Canadians' minds. I mean, senior citizens. I'll just give you an example. I had an email and a subsequent telephone conversation with a man whom I invited to the Heroes Barbecue. And he emailed me and said, I want to give you a message to give to Stephen Harper. He said, I got a $1.38 increase in my old age security. It's the first increase he had in 2 years. $1.38. I mean, he said it's an insult to give him that. He said every single day he sees the devastation within the seniors' communities. And people can't have the drugs that they require. They don't have the home care that they require. They don't have the housing they require. And those are the things that we should be focused on, quite frankly.
I was listening to the open line over the past couple of weeks, and there have been a few callers, and just 2 or 3 that I know of, who've made the comment that, well, I'm not voting for Siobhan Cody again because she talked to me and said she wasn't going to support the gun registry, and now she's done a flip-flop. Is this going to cost you any votes?
Well, first of all, I haven't flip-flopped. I've been quite steadfast in what I've said all the way through. I did meet with anybody who wishes to meet with me. I meet with to have a good, thorough, and open discussion, and a number of people in favor of the against the gun registry, just as I spoke to people in favor of the gun registry. And I sat down with them and listened to what their concerns were. And then as I do with any issue, I weighed out what I thought was what I heard from the groups and made an informed decision from that. So, first of all, I was pleased to be able to take their concerns as part of that debate. It may help. There may be some that are offended by the fact that the gun registry is continuing on, and that's regrettable. I hope that I've been able to show them on the issues that I'm listening. I'm available for their consult if they want to make their points known. Certainly, I think on this issue, it's a public safety issue. I sided with the police and with those that think the safety of our country was the most important thing. So, while I was lobbied quite substantively, not necessarily from St. John South Mount Pearl, but from a lot of concerned citizens across the country, there was a big mobilization here by the Conservatives to get rid of the gun registry. I can't be on the side with everyone. There's always going to be a debate, and that's what informed debate is a good thing.
We're going to take a short break. Please stay with us. We'll be back with more of Issues and Answers.